Guess what, guys? We're 2 days away from Pixel Day, and yes, I know that tomorrow is Apple's Unleashed MacBook event, but I can't really afford those new MacBooks, so I'm more excited for the Pixel 6 launch. And honestly, I've already decided that I'm buying one before the launch event because I know it's going to be that good. As usual, Google can never ever control the leaks on their products, so they usually just join in and release teasers. So in this video, I'm just going to spill out all the leaks and secrets so you can get even more hyped up before the event. So first, let's start off with the design. The back of the phone has their classic old two-tone colorway from the first Pixels, but this time there is a big camera bar in between. This is a big step for Google, taking a big risk and actually designing something new in the phone industry, rather than sticking with their usual safe and boring devices. The camera bar is where it gets sort of interesting. There are 2 or 3 new cameras, which I will get back to later, but the whole bar just kinda sticks out. To be honest, it kinda looks like one of those Among Us characters, but I kinda dig it. Thankfully, Google is sticking with their colorful options, which I love. This year, they have orange, gray, and black for the 6 Pro, although the orange does look more like yellow, and red, green, and black for the regular 6. Personally, I like the reddish-orange color on the Pixel 6 the most, and I really wish they had that option too for the Pro. A nice thing about the horizontal camera bar is that the phone will no longer wobble on a table. When I was using the iPhone 13 Pro, the camera bump on that phone was so big that the phone just wobbled on a table, even with the case on. And by the way, if you're interested in the iPhone, you can check out the content I made over here. Anyways, kudos to Google for the big risk they took in finally designing something unique. They really pulled it off the 6 Pro, but the 6 on the other hand, not so much. The lifted camera bar on the regular 6 looks really unbalanced, but hopefully it looks better in person. It's kind of funny to imagine how the cases for these phones will look though, cause like the raised camera bump on the case will probably make this phone look like a riot shield. Speaking of new designs from Google, Android 12 gets a brand new look as well. Now, it's very colorful and has a pastel and playful look. The new widgets have unique shapes and styles unlike anything we've seen on Android before, and the new Material You theme is meant for the theme of the phone to match your personal style, which means that the look is very customizable and personalized, and can even match with your wallpapers. I honestly can't wait to try them out. Now, going to the front of the phone, the Pixel 6 looks kinda like a Samsung Note. It's very rectangular with a center hole punch, but unlike the Notes, the bezel looks really thick. The 6 Pro, on the other hand, is more rounded and thankfully has way thinner bezels. The display itself should be a 6.4-inch flat AMOLED Full HD 90Hz screen for the 6 and a 6.7-inch curved OLED Quad HD 120Hz screen for the 6 Pro. It's really great to see Google at least having a 90Hz screen on the regular model, rather than leaving it at 60Hz. Cough cough Apple. Both phones will also have an in-screen fingerprint sensor. Honestly, I prefer the old rear fingerprint sensor because it's actually much faster and more convenient, so I'm pretty sad to see Google leaving that behind too, but it does make the new phones look more modern. Something else Google is leaving behind are the Qualcomm Snapdragon processors. Instead, Google has developed their own Tensor Chip for their phones, which will improve the phone's AI technology and machine learning, which also gives it a lot of new cool features that I will touch on afterwards. And after seeing the success on Apple's own M1 chips last year, we're probably all hoping for Google's own chips to be legendary. But sadly, the leak benchmark shows that it's around 30% slower than the Snapdragon 888. But honestly, we don't really need that much power in a phone, and Google will have optimized a chip for Android, just like Apple has with iOS. One thing Google's AI has always been amazing at is their camera processing, and it would be really interesting to see how the Tensor Chip will improve on that. Going back to the cameras, this year, Google has finally put new cameras in their phones. They've stuck with the same old 12 megapixel sensor ever since the very first Pixel phone, and just relied on AI processing magic to improve the quality. They've now included a 50 megapixel wide camera and a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and for the 6 Pro, a 48 megapixel telephoto lens with 4 times optical zoom as well. The main lens is supposed to take in 150% more light than before, which means it's either a bigger sensor, wider aperture, or both. This is probably to match the iPhone 13's incredible low light performance this year, and I'm really excited to see how they compare. The selfie cameras aren't as interesting though, as the regular 6 will have an 8 megapixel sensor, while the 6 Pro will get a new 12 megapixel sensor capable of 4K video, which is pretty useful. I will definitely be buying this phone to review for you guys, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. But the cool things for the Pixel don't end there. In a leaked advertisement, Google showed off Magic Eraser and offline live translation. Magic Eraser is basically this super cool Photoshop tool where you can remove distractions from your photos instantly. And Live Translate is just a translation interpreter, but it works offline now, which is really useful, especially for traveling to other countries. That's when COVID ends, of course. Unfortunately, the price of these phones are a very hard pill to swallow. The regular Pixel 6 is rumored to cost $849 USD, and the 6 Pro is said to be around $1099. For reference, the iPhone 13 is $799 and the 13 Pro is $999. So at roughly 10% more expensive than the iPhones, Google better have pulled off something amazing here. And yet, at a higher price than the iPhones, Google has still decided to remove the charger from the box as well. Hopefully, these rumored prices were wrong. Okay, I was about to finish editing this video and post it on YouTube, but a new leak has came on Twitter, and basically some random guy went to Target and he found some price tags for the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. And apparently the Pixel 6 is supposed to start at $599 for the 128GB version, and the Pixel 6 Pro is supposed to start at $899 for the 128GB version. And I don't know if it's like unlocked or with a carrier deal or anything, but that price point is much lower than what was initially thought, as I think it was around $849 and $1099. So if it's really $599 and $899, these phones will be such a good deal to get. And hopefully that's true, but we'll see on Tuesday. Now, we've basically covered every single spec of the phones that haven't even been released yet, but that's typical Google. But maybe they did it on purpose this year. Hear me out, by leaking the specs of the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, they can focus all the media's attention on those phones. That way, most people won't be paying attention to the other leaks, including the potential Pixel Fold that might release tomorrow as well. So when the Pixel Fold is announced, it'll just be a big surprise instead of just being expected like the other phones releases. I don't know, it's just some random conspiracy theory that popped in my head. It might not even release tomorrow as well. And that's it for the video, everyone. This was my first time making a leak video, so I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any other awesome content that we have planned for you guys in the future. Alright, stay safe and I'll see you guys in the next one.